Yeah. Series on strategies on how we can prevent human trafficking, as we strongly believe prevention is one of the key aspects. Um, Prevention is always better than cure, as the proverb says, and we strongly believe in that. And we have really passionate speakers lined up for today's session. We're so delighted to have both of them, both Hasina Kharbhih and Vivian Issac. I will introduce them in a bit, but before that, I know all of you are joining from different fields of work and parts of India, and some of you are research scholars, and some of you are into NGOs. We want to make the session really very participative, because this is a learning process for both of us. While you are in your research and while you are currently working as an NGO or as a human rights activist, we want you to help us understand on how we can build this robust system in preventing human trafficking. So first 1 hour, 30 minutes each, both the presenters are going to make a presentation and help us understand various strategies that they have been following, or they can help us advise us or suggest us on. Post that, we will have a session of panel discussion or Q&A. So we want you to come up with questions and queries related to the subject, exclusively on how we can prevent human trafficking, and pose us questions either on chat, or we can give you a chance to ask a question. And then if you could make us a better learning process, so that we would note down these points and send you the notes, so that all of us can collaboratively work at least on prevention, if not on anything else. Individually or as a corporate, we can come together, collaborate in contributing in prevention of human trafficking. So this is our first series on prevention. While we are deep diving into this issue, we have other series lined up. We have a series on rescue. We have a series on rehabilitation and repatriation. We have a series on how to raise funds for an NGO, especially for anti-human trafficking organizations. And then we have a series with child welfare committees. So we're running this Thursday series. Every Thursday we're going to have this series. We are going to have esteemed, passionate expertise talk to us, share with us on how we can tackle each of these issues. So this is in consequence or series of our national symposium on July 30th, where we've discussed on various issues on how we can come up with collaborative ideas in coining or drafting sustainable goals. Now, what we are trying to do is we're trying to deep dive into each issue or each aspect of human trafficking, so that all of us have something in hand by September, by August, to work in the area of our interest. So with that, I would like to introduce our first speaker for today. We have Hasina Kharbhih. Hasina Kharbhih, Ashoka Fellow and Aspen ILI Fellow, founded and managing director of Impulse Social Enterprises, and founder chair of board of Impulse NGO Network. For 30 years now, she's been working to provide sustainable livelihood in a safe environment for women and children. What started out as a mission in her home state of Meghalaya has today evolved into a global program that aims to put an end to human trafficking and exploitation worldwide. Her work stands on two pillars. The first is Impulse NGO Network, which has conceptualized in 1987 and is a significant force against human trafficking today. The second pillar is Impulse Social Enterprises, which aims to promote local artisans and create sustainable livelihood that helps prevent unsafe migration, which often leads to human trafficking. She's won amazing awards. She's done exclusive works. One of the articles says that she's rescued almost 70,000 victims of trafficking. Some of her awards are: in 2000, she won Commonwealth Youth Program Asia Award for Excellence in Youth Program. 2012, she won YFLO Women Achievers Award for Social Entrepreneurship, Federation of India, Indian Chambers of Commerce. While she has almost like 20 awards, I'm just picking choose some of the awards that she's won. In 2017, she's a recipient of Most Powerful Women in Business Impact Award 2017. Is a social business category announced by Business Today of the India Today's group. 2018, she's a recipient of Asia ICLIF Leadership Energy Award at LESA for recognized as a leader with intrinsic strength that call personal leadership energy. 2019, she's listed in Celebrating Change Makers, hers, how women social entrepreneurship lead and innovate. 5,000 women entrepreneurs was reviewed and 4 innovation of leadership was selected. My leadership style was listed in the recent book as Scaling Deep, Scaling Up, Scaling Out. 2019, she's won Mother Teresa Award for Social Justice 2019 from Harmony Foundation for her relentless, passionate work, ongoing efforts towards freeing the world from modern day slavery practices. Her work had been recognized worldwide, endorsed by Senior Prema, the Superior General of Missionaries of Charity, Calcutta, India. We are extremely delighted to have you speak to us today on how we can collaboratively prevent human trafficking. So thank you, Hasina Kharbhih, for sparing your time for us today and for facilitating the session today for us. Over to you.
Thank you. I think Vivian is taking this facilitation, right? Thank you so much. My choices. I know I wouldn't be, we are not in Hyderabad, but I'm joining you from Shillong. So after the last year. So thank you for having me here. And I hope that my learning lessons can contribute to all the participants today. And we'll see how we can engage in terms of having a deeper understanding. So Vivian, how would you like me to go about?
Oh, the floor is yours, Hasina. First of all, very delighted to see you here. It's wonderful to see you. And I didn't know that we would meet this time. Last year we were there in good circumstances, but here we are today. But then we have a lot of dedicated people watching the program. So all of them, most of them passionate about trafficking, passionate about what can go well in their lives. So it is great. And and with the person of your expertise, really a lot of they are just waiting to hear what's working and greatly beneficial for them. So I would like to you, I mean, especially to tell what's, I mean, they would like to know what in their strengths, because you're operating from an overall perspective, understanding where networks, what can be done, and your strength is networking, which is very much needed. So over to Hasina and all the strengths of your networking. Please, all the best for you. Thank you.
How much time do I have for the entire thing, and how much you want me to break with questions? So you can just give me that, like how does you
crystallize? That's your answer.
Yeah, sure. The first 30 minutes, you can make the presentation, followed by which Vivian will make a presentation for 30 minutes, and then we will have panel discussion or Q&A.
All right. Thank you so much. So the theme today is prevention. I think prevention has been spoken I mean, all the time. I'm human trafficking. In the last 30 years of my experiences in this field, we have often been talking about prevention of human trafficking at all levels. Some would be working at institutional level. One would be working with vulnerable communities. So when we talk about prevention, very often we are talking about building awareness so that people are, how does people get affected by human trafficking and how do they respond at different levels. The other wider part of prevention is that, are we looking for solution in terms of ensuring that we have long-term plans and goals in preventing human trafficking? That's the other aspect of it. In the first part, of course, as an organization, since I'm representing Impulse NGO Network and talking about our experiences today, when we started off, it was more from how does people understand that human trafficking affects every strata of the society. As we graduated in the process of the last 20 years of implementing Impulse model, we also went into deeper the kind of modes of ways of how we can channelize awareness building. I think COVID-19 has completely restricted many organizations to go to the field, to create awareness, to create program awareness. So the technology platform is a way of reaching out on how we actually create awareness on human trafficking. So for us from 2012, technology platform has been part and parcel of the activities of our work. Nevertheless, the way we operate is bringing together prevention activities of our various state partners that has a legal, what we call it, a legal engagement in terms of a legal contract with us in taking the vision of Impulse model, in ensuring that they execute the awareness activities at different levels to follow a module that we call the handbook of the Impulse model of how prevention activities is being imparted to everybody. Now, prevention activities in the second factor is that our learning lesson has been that you cannot stop people from migrating. You cannot stop people from searching for jobs. You cannot stop people to say don't go out unless you create a solution. You create economic support for people who are vulnerable or people who need to go out. So that's one aspect of we looking back and understanding that do we need to just look into intervening on human trafficking from the lens of creating awareness, or do we go deeper into it? Yes, the Impulse model is a very deep dive, but since my theme topic today is prevention, I'll stick to the theme topic on prevention. We realize that economic livelihood opportunity is a solution on the long term. Now, economic livelihood opportunity is not a cup of tea for a lot of non-profit organizations because it requires market access, it requires engagement on a consistent manner with markets, it requires that there is a flow of, what we call it, sustainable impact that vulnerable communities can really engage themselves. So I wanted to hint here that Impulse Social Enterprise is an ecosystem. It's an ecosystem where we decided 13 years ago that as a sister vulnerable communities in the Northeast, whose strength is traditional skill, whose strength is that they do not have much market, so the strength is not being capitalized to provide them upliftment, to provide them security, to provide them with a consistent earning so that the family will not be at risk. So Impulse Social Enterprise came into life as a social impact business which engage women who have traditional skill belonging to different communities of the Northeast, where we engage designers with all, strength in terms of product line development, and also work with online platform in terms of market access, and also work with individuals, agencies in marketing and channelizing the product. So that helps women who are at the ground having a consistent earning. Having a consistent earning means you are indirectly preventing communities who would be vulnerable to migration and would be exploited at various levels if they do not have the power or the strength to say no. That is how trafficking happens. So that is the long-term activity. And we have seen that during COVID situation, when the crisis of inbound migration was taking place, when the crisis of people losing their opportunities and job, impulse social enterprises, all the artisans continue to weave from their home, because that is how traditionally the ecosystem in the Northeast is, that every house has a loom. Every house traditionally are, engaged into different kind of weaving, but market access has always been a challenge. But what we provide is a consistent market of almost 6,000 to 7,000 a month for artisans and weavers, that we take the risk. So what I'm saying is that Impulse Social Enterprise has the raw material distribution bank. We take the risk of investing raw material market access to these women, so that these women do not have to go out and look for market, and do not have to get exploited, or does not have to really engage themselves completely full time. So they are 3 to 4 hours a day, 6,000 to 7,000 a month, while they are also engaged into their biodiversity, into their food security, because they live within their own environment. So that becomes very comprehensive when it comes to vulnerable communities, especially when we look at Assam at the moment. Most of the communities who are engaged with us are very much still having all the support system from the organization, even in the deep crisis. Yes, various challenges come at every level, but to counter the different challenges for us now is looking for different kind of market feasibility and access, so that we continue the processes of ensuring that prevention is a mechanism, that economic livelihood has to be the answer in the long term. So it's a very important element of how we have to introspect ourselves as an organization, that awareness is one way, but awareness without economic security cannot actually prevent human trafficking overall. So awareness with economic sustainability, which has a social impact business, then only it gives people choices, it gives women choices not to migrate unsafely. And we also work into multiple collaborations and partnerships, because we realize that no single organization has the skills or the expertise or the resources to engage on large-scale prevention activities when it comes to economic sustainability. So it's just not about weaving. Weaving is one aspect of it, because weaving is something which has been the core expertise of Impulse NGO Network initially, and it was moved to Impulse Social Enterprises. So my message here is that even at prevention level, we always have to see that, are we preventing people from unsafe migration on the long run? Are we actually looking for solution that is engaging multiple partnership when it comes to the economic viability? So economic viability is not just about NGO getting together, but is also having the sense of how social impact business works, which the drive would be engaging people who are actually needing employment, but making those employment very localized. Why localized? I think if you look at all the migrant returning back to the source, I think all of us today has to open that we have huge migration internally in our country today. And most of those migration are actually vulnerable to all form of exploitation. We are seeing that the people are losing their jobs at different level. Their coming back means who is going to create livelihood opportunities so that we are preventing human trafficking in the other sense. Are we going to look at that, or are we going to just look at rescue? Yes, as an organization, we under the 6 R's, report, rescue, rehabilitation, repatriation, reintegration, and restitution, is the action on the ground that we collectively work with various institutions and organizations to respond the action on the ground. But the action on the ground will be very short term if we look at the larger problems that we are seeing today, that migration, loss of employment, and opportunity will definitely requires more prevention programs and activity, which is more economic based. Whether we are looking at any levels, it can definitely differ from region to region what economic livelihood would be. It would differ in terms of market access from region to region, But collective efforts and working with institutions who already have huge understanding, because working with prevention on livelihood cannot be a grant that you receive and then you do business. It has to be sustainable. You cannot for life wait for money to keep giving to people and producing products. That is called training for rehabilitation. That's a different. But prevention on the larger scale is teaching people how to fish. And that's what Impulse Social Enterprises is, teach people how to fish and also look at how they respond locally, while we are also having the global market engagement. And then the product that we sell under our brand Impulse Empower, which is one of the prevention activity, it definitely address the responses to human trafficking. But we don't sell with a sad story. It's not that you should buy this product because you feel sad for the survivors of human trafficking. You buy it because it's beautiful. It's a product produced by women. It has, an environmental understanding of how it's being produced. It has a story. It has from where it comes from. So the whole chain that there is being is not actually has any violation in its production. So that's a very important part. And now we see that our engagement during the situation that we are facing right now is we are going into larger collaboration where we're working with biodiversity and agroforestry, because when we look at tribal population, the forest is the resources. How do we engage people and communities to be self-sustainable? And to do that, you need to have other kind of collaboration, which is not from the space of human trafficking, but is from the space of climate change. It's a space of working with the ecosystem of economics, because or working from the ecosystem of what biodiversity is all about. So we are going into large-scale collaboration where we are weaving, women weaving while living within their own biodiversity as an economic impact that would be a long-term solution. And this time, I think in the last 6 months, it shows very clearly after many evaluations that Impulse Social Enterprise has managed to actually support vulnerable communities, even during the lockdown, where they still engage in weaving. Yes, as an institution, we are taking risks in executing other needs of COVID-19. Definitely COVID-19 is posing more challenges. And yes, we went through a call for campaign recently where our survivors of human trafficking came on board, and also our women artisans came on board, that there's a need where people require certain product like a mask, and then we cannot give masks for free completely from an Impulse Social Enterprise perspective. So how does people work together into the collaborative response? So these are tools and mechanism which is ongoingly, innovatively put forward, but it has to be channelized through various mediums at the moment. So that is one way that we had looked at prevention, because we did many programs, many innovative programs in the past. When we started it off, we designed PSAs to create awareness using local media channels. Then we graduated into regional television, where we would play the PSA in educating what human trafficking is. Today, we're using the internet space to educate about human trafficking. So we always graduate when we talk about awareness building on prevention. Secondly, many traditional processes was used in the past, like street plays and dramas and films and film screening to educate communities. But as we graduate, we see that the method will have to change. I mean, there has to be different kind of method, because the target population is shifting. We are also having more young people today who are actually vulnerable to human trafficking, sitting in their own home. Most of the data research that we collected recently with a team that we work very closely made us realize that the challenge of people being exploited online has increases during the lockdown. It was there very much. So now prevention activities for such a program and for such kind of vulnerable situation will have to also have multiple partnership, because it's just not about showing one film on the internet, who is accessing that, or showing where to report, but it's also working at policy level that look at the IT laws of our countries and how the government can also bring restriction on the various sites, which is actually increasing a lot of pornography, engagement, where the demand is starting to increase. So this is a new trends of active issues on human trafficking that we really need to overcome. So, but the overall sector here is that loss of job, loss of employment, economic is always one of the biggest situation that leads to human trafficking, because people start migrating unsafely. So if we address that on the larger context, then we are addressing human trafficking holistically. And that's the reason that 13 years now, we took the steps to start social impact business that really work with rural communities, which has consistent market. We run a raw material bank, which is a bank that provides centralized raw material distribution, that they don't have to really pay for it, but we engage through the weaving processes in the market. So it is a different kind of mode of operation that we are doing. So that is where I wanted to highlight, because I'm supposed to just talk about prevention today, larger, and you all having the other series. But we also have to understand that in today's world, there are many projects. I think human trafficking has become very savvy for many organizations to engage. It has become very savvy for many individuals to have empathy to work towards human trafficking. But we have to recognize that human trafficking is a crime, it's a nexus, it's a very huge business. So it has to be collective in the way one operates. One cannot feel small. One cannot feel threatened by organizations that already been in existence for many years, but they can co-create. So my message would be that co-creation of younger organization, new organizations, individuals who are coming in this space to address human trafficking would be the need of the hour, because one would have resources, the other would have skill, the other would have knowledge. So if we combined all of that, then we are combining an impactful process of preventing human trafficking. If we do not combine that, then we are actually working in isolation. I mean, I still remember when I came to your program last year, the same thing I said, Vivian, is that at the end of the day, you might create your network, I might create my network, another organization might create the network. In 30 years, Impulse is part of 15 to 16 network. But the network was operational as long as there were resources in the network. But the network, drips apart when resources is not there, when people get exhausted in intervening anti-trafficking, because sometimes it's individuals who have passion to address human trafficking. Passion can lead to a certain level, but it cannot be the ultimate that can actually find solution. It has to be a combination. So the learning lesson of co-creation is us as well, that if we have to look at long-term, younger organization, newer organization will have to feel comfortable, will have to come together and say, let's work with institutions who already have years of experiences, come forward without having that ego. Ego is something that restrict people to move. Ego restrict your communication. Ego is when you limit your way of working with other organization. For us is that we have to tell the other organization, hey, what is going on? And this is the way we have to work together, because duplication of action is the loss of resources. It's the loss of, finances that today is much more of a difficulty. You might have finances for 5 years, but what happened after 5 years? Human trafficking is not going to stop. So overall, prevention will have to be economic based. Prevention has to be a business base that also give sustainable solution in the longer run. So I think with that, if there's any question, I don't know whether I've part 30 minutes. I'm sure I took 31 minutes. So I will hand over to the organizer now. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I think you're much ahead in time. We started a little few minutes late. However, thank you so much for those insights. I think you rightly pointed what's on my heart as well, that economic viability is the key, and we got to fix that issue. And you are rightly working on migration, which has become lot of need of the hour at this time. So thank you so much for all that you do, and thank you for your insights that you shared with all of us. Moving on, we have our second speaker. Vivian Isaac is a program director that oversees Operation Red Alert in Hyderabad currently. Um, he has great love in connecting with people, building coalitions, like-minded groups. Vivian is a graduate of law with postgraduate degree in advertising and public relations. He has more than 17 years of experience working with local and international NGOs, heading humanitarian, media, and counseling divisions. He has led diverse teams in a range of projects, including education and mentorship programs for children of poor families who have been affected by trafficking. He has also worked in disaster relief rehabilitation projects in Afghanistan, Sri Lanka, Nepal, and parts of India. He is highly skilled in creating partnerships between NGOs and the government, police, local administration, media, and the law. Vivian is married and blessed with 2 children. He loves to travel and meet new people. So thank you so much, Vivian Isaac, for facilitating the session for us, along with Hasina Kharbhih. We're so delighted to hear you as well. My Choices and Operation Red Alert has been doing extensive work in the field of prevention, and we thought no other um, best way to bring you on board than this series. So thank you so much for doing this for us. Over to you.
Thank you, Crystalite. Thank you very much. It's a great opportunity. It's a great honor for us. And thank you, Hasina, for starting this sessions today. And wonderful. I was listening to you. Have got so much knowledge and understand. I like the positive attitude, the way of we have to work together. No doubt about it. 100%. I would support that. And in even My Choices Foundation is purely built and is building on coalition, because we cannot do anything alone. We have to have people along with us, and with this coalition we will try to bring trafficking to an end. That's our system. Thank you, Crystal. Thank you for this opportunity. It's wonderful to be here, and I know you've been working very hard, Chris, at your age. It's wonderful. We only I can wish you all the best and help you wherever it's possible. It's a tough road that you have chosen, but it's a great blessings on the way for you, because a lot of people are going to be benefited by your efforts. Thank you so much, Chris. Yes. Yeah. Thank you all. Thank you. Greetings to all of people, all of you all are listening to this program. Please bear with me, because what I'm going to speak to you is what actually worked with us as far as prevention of trafficking is concerned. So, I'm going to give you a picture which actually I take at least 2 days time to speak about, and so you can understand how it would be. So it's okay. I'm trying to make it as simple as possible for you to understand exactly how we move into communities to do the prevention. So please allow me to share my screen, please. One minute, I'm coming. This one? Yes, can you see the screen, please? Yeah, thank you. So a little bit about My Choice Foundation. My Choice Foundation started in 2012. We started with Operation Peacemaker, and our entire focus is on giving women and girls a choice to live a life free, develop a congenial atmosphere for them, no violence and exploitation. So in Operation Peacemaker, mostly it's working in Telangana. It reduces domestic violence and free counseling, rights to education and legal aid. But at the same time, this is a huge service that we have realized that we are doing in Telangana, and work very actively with the police, because a lot of cases are being solved by us here. But the thing is, the need is so much that we are gradually phasing it up into all over India. It'll be in a phased manner. It's going to be tough, a great challenge, but what it's doing it across India. Then we have Operation Red Alert, in which I work, and our plans is to end large-scale trafficking in India by 2025. Now, what's trafficking? You all know what's trafficking, and trafficking happens. We have three areas. One is the source area, the transit area, and the destination area. So we will keep ourselves to the source area only, where probably the traffickers operate, and that's where the victims are. So we will, all our efforts are actually concentrated in those traffic-prone areas. Now, what runs us, what makes us to do this is because of the importance of why human trafficking. It's a trade of humans, most shameful trade, sexual slavery, commercial sexual exploitation, trafficker, they use force, fraud, coercion, lies, deceit, everything runs. And millions of women and children are trafficked worldwide, irrespective of race, age, nationality, caste, or creed. So uh, the main stats that actually run our program is that every 10 minutes a girl gets sold. So today we are spending 2 hours. That means about divided by 10 minutes, about 12 girls get sold in this time alone. And then a girl is raped in a brothel 20 times or more in a day. And among them, only one person is rescued. And then the average age of a trafficked child in India is about 12 years old, with some as young as 7. Now, we have 660,000 villages in India, 1.3 billion people, different vulnerabilities, different socioeconomic. Where do we start? How do we identify? What model can we build? How can we expand? How can we develop a team to reach out to these people, and where to go? Because I told you, 660,000 villages is a huge thing. We have got great support from an organization called Quantium, and they developed a tool for us, to identify vulnerable villages. They use different parameters, priority scores, population of the village, girls boy ratio, poverty levels, infrastructure, proximity to highways, proximity to roads, border areas, everything which makes that place vulnerable. And then based on this, we have a vulnerability mapping score, and then we have, some rankings, even maybe 1 to 5 rankings. So the ranking number 5 is the most vulnerable. So what we do is, those villages which come under rank 5, we bring them together, and then we start our work there. Alone, we can't do it. So we don't have a team that can cater to all these places in India. So that's why we have to have implementing partners. So this is uh, the way we go. We have 3 main pillars for us. One is the grassroots education, which actually happens in the village; helpline, which supports us, which ensures we get connected to the village; and the mass media campaign runs about uh, the important messages which can go through television or radio or whatever, which is required to, like, for example, when you're going on the field, then we'll have a blitz of information getting into the village. We work with the communities. At the same time, messages come through radio, to television, through other media, to reinforce into them how to be safe. Now, we have strategic partners, those people who help us actually to identify these implementing partners. When I mean implementing partners, those people are there who are on ground, grassroots level. They could be small, they could be big, but they are at grassroots. They are very passionate about the work. They have connections in the community, but they need some support. They need some tools. They need some direction to go about. Those are the people who become implementing partners. And when we train them for 2-3 day training, the strategy partners like Hasina, Kharbhih, Impulse, they are there, International Justice Mission, Justice and Care, Sunlab, many organizations are there, who help us to come along and train these implementing partners. Then we do our Safe Village program, which I'll go into next. And during the village program, we have some sustainable agents in the village whom we enlist. They are the Rakshaks, who act like vigilantes, the nodal teachers, and the Gram Mitras. And then we have a helpline. Any call comes from helpline. It comes straight into our system. Then people in their respective languages, they speak to them, find out the problem, and then they go help them back through the same implementing partners and with the help of the strategic partner or other stakeholders like the police and other organizations. Now, as far as the mass media is concerned, we are doing a Good Father campaign to ensure to get the positive impact or change in behavior of the father to protect the family. Then we have celebrity endorsements, like we have Virat Kohli and the captain cricket Dhoni, and these two gentlemen have endorsed our program. Then we made a VR film on virtual reality film on trafficking. We have public campaigns, marathons, social media campaigns, etc. Changing. Okay, can you see the screen, please? Yes. Yeah, fine. Okay. Now this is our Safe Village program. What we do is when we go into the village, we train the implementing partners. They about all what's happening, trafficking, how to send the message across, and then they go into the village. Much before going into the village, they go. We call it the pre-visit. They go and check the logistics. They meet the village elders. They pass on. This is the comic book that we make. It's in different languages. We have and Hindi and all the local languages, Bengali. So these comic books are given to the people there, and then they understand, especially the leaders, so that they get a clear understanding of what the messages are about, and then make arrangements where the program is going to happen. Now, normally, the school is a very important place where you have to do the program, and we spend a lot of time in the school with the teachers, with the children. It's all great time. It's fun time for the kids. At the same time, they learn about trafficking, but at these times, the schools are not there. So we have adapted the program a little bit so that it can go well with the community. Now, because we are going in this pandemic situation, we have some messages for them about COVID-19, because this is also gives an entrance to us into the villages, because at the time today, लोग बोलेंगे कि आप लोग नए लोग हैं, कहाँ से आ रहे हैं हमारे विलेज में, कैसे आएंगे. तो बस हमारे पास कोविड-19 का सेफ्टी एडवाइजरीज है, हम आपके साथ शेयर करना चाहते हैं, हैंड वॉश के बारे में, मास्क के बारे में. So this is what we tell them, so that they also understand that at the end of the day we say we want your village to be healthy and safe. Okay, now here are our main heroes, of our entire message. This is the good father, then they are the informed mother, Rani and Rahul. Now this comic book. ये आप लोग देख रहे हैं, ये सिंपल कॉमिक बुक है, लेकिन ये कॉमिक बुक ऐसे आसानी से हमने नहीं बनाया. इसको बहुत सारा रिसर्च किया इस कॉमिक बुक पर. We did an extensive research on that and found out what are the messages that they would like to listen, and they would change their way they do the program. How maybe talk of a good father, how we can change and become talk of a father, how we can become a good father, about a mother. So a lot of research has gone into various places at checking the demand, supply, at the rural areas, at the destinations, a lot of research has done and found out what messages, कौन से message हैं जिनको सुनने के बाद उनमें परिवर्तन आ जाएगा. What messages will actually change the behavior? So everything is gone into it, and then we brought out this comic book, and now this is normally distributed in the schools. All children have this comic book with them, and they have great comics inside, which in their local language, and then they have special pages. I'll take care of the special pages now, because the comic book will not have much time. The special pages are like this. we have the good father. So all about the good father and how a good father is there. He loves his child so much. He'll ensure that we use small symbols like, take like a crop, how a farmer takes care of the crop. Likewise, the father takes care of the kid. He makes sure she is uh, goes to school, not get married before 18 years of age, provide an ambient atmosphere, give space for the child to listen and everything, and to like be a good father. Now, when these messages are going on, these are all interactive. Please remember, it's all interactive, and then they keep talking to the community as they have, like अच्छा कौन है जो समझते हैं कि आप एक good father बन सकते हैं, एक अच्छे पिता बन सकते हैं. Lot of these things happen in the community. And then we have the informed mother. An informed mother, a mother not only sees a child and takes care of her, but at the same time understands who the traffickers are. The trafficker could be your own brother, her own brother-in-law, the village, anybody. So we are just making her informed so that when a decision comes, when the trafficker comes or an agent comes, she's ready for them, saying, no, my daughter will go to school. She will not get married before 18 years of age. So this is what we make her decisive, make her informed, make her equipped. Now, this is the guardian girl. She's a very important part of our program. And this is a girl who becomes responsible, becomes smart, he's a leader, and then she says, I will be a guardian girl. I'm very variable. I'm like the pearl. I'm, I make my decisions. Some sort of a confidence in her. And then she comes to a stage through all the, there's a lot of activities which go on for the guardian girl. We show her in the pages in the comic book. It's something like that. So she actually puts her thumb impression here, and then she says she will protect, she will help other children, not only herself. So she goes from a point A to point B. Earlier she could have been a little diffident, but now she's so confident that she'll protect herself as well as her friend. So that's a guardian girl. Now see the girls now, they're putting thumb impressions, there. It's a lot of fun. See, these are a lot of fun in the field, but it's fun for sure, but the messages go clearly well that you have to protect yourself. You have to take care of yourself, not only yourself, but your friend too. Yeah. And now this is our hero. We call him the cool boy or bindas ladka or hatke ladka, or we call him the smart boy. Now the smart boy is a boy who respects girls. So he actually takes an oath that just like, this message has been endorsed by these guys, our great players, Dhoni ji and Virat Kohli, and they are well known everywhere, and they in fact endorse this message. If you see the screen, there's a signature of Dhoni and Virat Kohli there. Just at the bottom, the boy will also sign. He will take a shapat. वो शपथ लेते हैं और फिर नीचे हस्ताक्षर करते हैं, साइन करते हैं कि विराट कोहली जैसे, धोनी जैसे हम भी लड़कियों का इज्जत करेंगे. I will also respect girls just like these two. Again, this is a lot of fun activity, but the message goes clear, and it's at the stage where the boy starts thinking about himself, growing up, that he gets a positive attitude towards the girls, that he should respect them. Then we leave behind a helpline in the village. This is the number 1-800-419-858, and they can call us. When the call comes in, it's picked up by people in their own language. They call them back, and then ask what the problem is. Again, our machinery works. Implementing partners are there. So we have close to about 100 implementing partners. So each of them are 4 or 5 people are working on them. That's about 600 people there. Then we have our own staff, all ready to help them. Then we have great strategic partners like IGM, Justin Care, Sunlab, and all ready to help us when we need their intervention, and the police department for sure. So we pick up the call and make sure the help is needed. So helpline is quite important. It's flashed in only in those villages where we do our program at the moment, so that our partners are ready to work. Now, quickly, I'll go through it. This is a very important component, very close to my heart. We do a little play, which is the most common thing that happens during trafficking. This is the most common thing. The father and mother discussing. Now, this play is done by children in school. So they enact this play themselves. We give them 1 week in advance when we do the pre-visit. They do all the preparations and they enact. Some of them wear costumes and all. Great fun. but the message, as I said earlier, goes very clearly. And the father and mother is sitting in this room. This, at the moment, will go in the form of a flip chart because there are no schools and we can't show it on a film. So a flip chart, a big flip chart, this scene will be shown and then the story starts. The father and mother discussing about the problem. The problem, if it is in Bengal, they'll think about the damage cyclone has done. If it is in Bihar at the moment, जहाँ पर पानी का इतना प्रॉब्लम हो गया, बाढ़ हो गया, वहाँ पर बहुत लोग मर रहे हैं, तो वो स्थिति इनकी कन्वर्सेशन में रहेगा. क्या करें हम बच्चों को कैसे पालें, पैसों की कमी है. So these are the common things. And then you see the little girl, वो 12 साल की लड़की दूसरे रूम में बैठी है. She's just thinking. She's supposed to be studying, but her concentration is what mom and dad are talking, the problems about the lives. Okay. Let's see what happens next. Now, again, mom and dad are in the same conversation and come in, the uncle and auntie, mama, mommy, jo bhi hai, they'll come inside and they start. What happened? आप लोग इतने sad क्यों हैं? क्या बात है? क्या problem है? नहीं, कुछ नहीं, नहीं बताओ ना, हम तो आपके own relation हैं. अगर हम help नहीं करेंगे तो कौन करेगा? So they tell about the problem. They have an idea. Why don't you send your 12-year-old daughter to Mumbai and Delhi? Great options, you know. They get good salaries, they get good clothing, they can send money which is you need so much. Mommy and daddy, no, my child will not go because she has to go to school. She's just 12 years old. How can she go? It's up to you. We told, if you want, you can check up with Rani and Lakshmi, some names they tell them, and you can call them and find out how they are. They're comfortable. They're sending money home. They're very happy. It's up to you. An offer is made from our side. It's up to you guys. And then they walk away. Now, this is a great scene. Now, remember, all this is done with interaction with the people out there on the ground. Okay, please understand that every scene is discussed with the community as to what is the feelings about what's happening on the flip chart. Now, they are thinking, father is thinking, I don't think it's the right thing to send my child away. But why did my brother-in-law say that? Is it true? She thinks, oh, it's not good. She has to go to school. But my brother, how can he bring such an, is there some truth in that? Should we find out? And the little girl, you know, girls are always girls. You know, they want to make sure that the family is comfortable. Always, even if they go and get married, they look behind and find out if the families are comfortable. That's normal, the best part of any girl. This girl is no different. She thinks, oh, wish I will go. This is my chance to help my family. I will go to Bombay or Delhi. Then, you know, I'll help my family. And then, you know, she comes in and explains to daddy and mummy, I will go. Daddy, mummy say, no, you don't go. No, I heard everything. Uncle and auntie told, no, I will go everything. And then they call the uncle and auntie and go. Now, listen, this is a question we, again, interact with the public. Do you think she did the right thing by going away? Some say, no, she should be in school. Some say, no, there's a problem with jobs. It's the best thing that she did. But many say, no, she should be in school. And then we say, okay, let's see what exactly happened to the girl. The girl is taken away by uncle and auntie. In 10 minutes, she's sold to somebody else. Then she's sold, then she's locked up in a room. She's raped several times. She's sold again, and that's it. Now we ask them, okay, you know, this is changed into a very positive mode. Okay, try to bring the prevention aspect into it. Who could have stopped that girl from going? How could have stopped? Who could have taken a decision? Who could have helped at the time? So many discussions happened. Some say the father, some say the panchayat, some say this, some say the girl because she decided to go. But we explained to them, listen, the father and mother are wonderful people. The uncle and auntie, great people. But the girl has decided to go. It's circumstances. And then we see what happened to the father. He thinks, wish I was a good father. A good father wouldn't have sent the child away. He would have kept her in school. You know, so much of thoughts come in. I do not have much time, so I'm just rushing through because to keep up the time here. So now we come to the mother. What should be thinking? Why did I allow her to go? I wish I was an informed mother. I wish I knew how, even my own brother, I could have seen the designs behind that person of selling the child away, you know, causing so much harm. I wish I knew about it. And then this is the guardian. Oh, wish I was a guardian girl. That not only me, I should have kept my friends safe. And now what I am, I'm in such a situation. I wish I was a guardian girl. Now this all exercise is done interactively to make them understand that everything could have been prevented. They should have played their own roles well, and that was brought in by the positive messaging that we did for this. And then we come back to this. Now listen, this is the most important elements, the sustainable persons we leave behind. Okay, these are big programs here, what you're seeing on the screen, big programs, but I'm going to explain to you in 2 lines only. Gram Mitra is a person who is enlisted, who loves the program, who moves about, who makes a call on a helpline and says, I like your program. He becomes a Gram Mitra. And through Gram Mitra, huge programs will happen. Gram Mitra would be a part of the village vigilance committee. He could be a part of the village leadership. He could be a part to help in other programs. He could be a part that we have finished the program of this comic book in the village, but he will continue to send the same message across. We will engage with him always in future. Then the nodal teacher, very important person, vibrant people. They have a passion for helping children, making sure they continue in school, making sure there are no dropouts. They've got a huge role to play. And who is a nodal teacher? Could be a retired teacher, a headmaster, a teacher residing in the village, could be an Anganwadi teacher, or could be even a tuition teacher. Everyone who's got a relationship with the children, a positive relationship of making them grow better, they will become the nodal teachers. And this is again a continued program. We engage with them to impart with them, and because they are instrumental in forming adolescent groups, part of the village vigilance committee, peer groups, and so many programs, all education programs will be rooted to them. It's a huge project which will continue. Then we have Rakshak. Rakshak is a vigilante. He makes sure that no one is trafficking in the village. If even there is a sign of trafficking, he calls a helpline, and he also calls a helpline or the regional partner, whoever he is. They call them, and immediately we go move in and to the village and try to help a child. So that's now. I'm just rushing through. These are big topics. So we also tell them about the physical and mental growth which happens, adolescent sexuality, and this is done in a very highly skillful manner. Depends on the people. Now remember, when we are in a community, I don't mean the entire village is there. We go about only 4-5 houses. Please, at this moment, pandemic time, please don't come out of your houses. Be wherever you are. आपके चबूतर के पास बैठिए, नजदीक मत आइएगा, 15 feet distance. And then we'll wash our hands, wear gloves, whatever, and then distribute the comic books, reading comic books, everything goes wherever you are. Depends on the people there. We go on and on. It maybe not one place. We do this program in 3-4 locations in the village. Could be at the fields where they go for in the farm. Could be at the quarry where they're doing work. Could be in the tea gardens where they're going. Please, can you spare 20 minutes for us, or your lunchtime? We are there. Just 5 minutes. Come, and through the help of the flip chart and the comic book, we'll make sure that they understand these messages, which will keep their children safe. So this is adolescent sexuality. We'll tell them about that, and then good touch, bad touch. We have a Komal Childline's Komal film we usually run. We might run the soundtrack there, but we'll tell them how to keep the children safe from abuse, and tell them understand who can touch and all that. Good touch, bad touch. And at this point, we would tell the mothers, hey, mothers, great. This is how you, simple things like this, which we can teach in the field. You can, when you give birth to a child, usually what the mother does, she rubs the child top to down, okay? But we will tell the mothers, yeah, you give birth to your child, fine. But at those private parts, the chest, the buttocks, the front, use your soap, a scrubber, give to them, baby, this is your places. Take it, you rub it yourself. So the child begins to understand, okay, oh, these are mine. My mother doesn't hesitate to touch. So these are mine. So it grow up with that, and it makes them feel secure. And then the social media, what's happening out there, PUBG, Facebook, and all. So much of trafficking is done. We explain to them how traffickers are done. Like when you talk to some beautiful girl on the phone, a girl is talking. She thinks that the other person is a girl, but actually a man is speaking from there. So some pictures we tell them, and then that man will actually, modulate his voice, or a girl will talk or something, and then once they get them in the track, you look beautiful, you can look better. There's that lot of horrid stories are there, which many of you will be knowing about how they trap them. Facebook and big adult people are getting into this mess. So please understand this. Social media is great, but its misuse is rampant. Domestic violence is another important thing that we have with us. So we try to give them some information about how uh, we can ensure that they understand that it is not necessary they should suffer. They have remedial measures. The law is there to protect them. So we give them a helpline. There's a helpline, and then as I told you earlier, domestic violence we are not spread out much, but in a phased manner, we'll be going into different places in India. This is the community leadership. We want to build a community which can take care of itself. Through the community leadership, so many things can be done. Uh, Here again, positive. We will make sure that it's all positive and said you guys can do a great job there. The sarpanches, the up sarpanch, the panchayat can come together. You can protect your child, make a security belt around your village, make sure that no strangers come in, and keep protect and make the migration safe. These are all there. We are ready to help you. So we will also engage them along with our implementing partners to take them from level A to level B, ensuring that there's a good village local leadership. So they understand that the laws are backing them up. Anti-trafficking laws are there. POXO is there. Child Marriage Abolition Act is there. To all to help them to make sure that they have a good congenial atmosphere in the village for the children, especially the girls. Again, now this is what's going to be happening pandemic time. So we encourage them, please social distancing, put your masks on, but continue the good work that you're doing. Now, this is almost my last slide. Yes. Now, we leave behind in the village a guardian girl, a girl who's changed, and now she says she'd be a guardian girl, not only protect herself, but her friend too, an informed mother who will not only, who will ensure the child grows well in a congenial atmosphere, understand who the traffickers are, who the guys will promise fake education and all. And then we have the good father. I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you one thing. When the drama is going on, when I showed you about the play, they will bring all these aspects of, fake education, fake marriages, and all that in the same play. So they understand, the family understands, the community understand that trafficking can come through anything, through a child marriage, could be through fake offers of job, or anything like that. So, but please keep yourself to the village. Don't go out is our always advice. And so will this guy, the informed mother and the good father, ensure that the child is protected. Child goes to school, doesn't get married before 18 years old. Then we have the cool boy, the smart boy. He'll respect the girls just like Virat and Dhoni did. Then we have the Gram Mitra, as I told you, got a great role to play. It's a growing program, and they will be part of the village leadership. We have the nodal teachers who will continue their surveillance in the village, ensure there's no child dropouts in the village, ensure there's counseling for the mothers, children. And then we have the Rakshak who always make sure that everything is safe. Anything goes wrong, even the signs of trafficking, they'll call the helpline number and the implementing partner, so that help is given. Then our helpline is there, and the village leadership is there, and then to ensure. And then another important person, the trafficker. So during the whole day, because our team is there for 2 days in the village, 2 days of on-ground community program with them, with discussion, interactive sessions everywhere. And during this time, they will even appeal to the traffickers, please listen. आप लोग अगर ट्रैफिकिंग के दलाल हो, एजेंट्स हो, प्लीज ये काम मत करिए, क्योंकि इसमें बहुत मतलब ट्रॉमा होता है, बहुत दर्द होता है फैमिलीज के लिए, और only one person gains, that is the trafficker, everybody loses. So agents, traffickers, stop this work. बहुत shameful है, and the law is very strict about these crimes. At the same time, we tell them, listen, now it is difficult for the trafficker to operate because we have the guardian girl, the informed mother, good father, the smart boy, the Gram Mitra, the nodal, the Rakshaks, a great community leadership, and the helpline. So far, I finished my program. I'll just tell you up to date what happened so far. We did 4,275 village programs across India in 8 states. We have got about 86, almost about close to about 100 implementing partners. And we have about 42,605 helpline calls, in which 282 helpline cases came. I did mention one child marriage case, but there are hundreds of cases which coming and being solved. And this is being done. Thank you for the implementing partners who work along, the strategy partners, and everyone who's along with us. And then we had about 23,90,000 beneficiaries, 1,695 Rakshaks, and 1,360 nodal teachers. And recently we did COVID relief, and we helped close to about 5,000 families with essentials for them for the last 2 months. And then our Gram Mitra program is beginning to bloom, because the need for sustaining is very important. That's all for today. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chrysolite. Thank you, Red Rope. Thank you all for allowing me to speak. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Vivian, for sharing with us the very engaging program. I think I want to do one for my village, my municipality where I am. So if any of you are interested in connecting with Operation Red Alert, connecting with Vivian, or ensuring that this program is done in your own villages or wherever, or if you want to run this for your own organization, I'm leaving his email ID over here. Please get in touch with him. Is that all right if I leave your email?
Please. Yeah. Go ahead. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Please get in touch with them and see how you can run this program at your own place, wherever it is. So thank you so much once again. I think this has been really nice. One of the important aspect. If all of us can come together, then all of our villages, all of our homes can be a safe home, and all of us want to be that good mother or a father. Thank you so much for designing this and sharing this with us. With this, we want to open the floor for any of the questions, before which I would like to show a video on what Impulse organization does. Just give me a moment. Yeah.
मैं जब 11 साल की थी, एक आदमी आए थे। माँ ने मुझे बोला है कि मुझे उसका साथ जाना है। जाने के बाद फिर मुझे दिल्ली में ले गया, तो हम लोग को एक होटल में रखा था। हम लोग बोला है कि किस लिए, उन्होंने बोला है कि तुम्हें तो बेच दिया। तो हम लोग पूछा कि एक इंसान को कोई खरीद सकते हैं क्या? वाला से मिले थे, तो एक पुलिस वाला को हम सारे बात बताया था। फिर वो छापा मरवाने के बाद फिर मुझे थाना पे लेकर आया। We have to learn to start looking at human trafficking, a crime that exists in many countries, many communities. It can happen to anybody. Now, today, even people coming from middle-class family, sitting in their own home, can be highly vulnerable when they're moving for employment opportunities. The migration has been unsafe to many, many, many thousands of women. परेशानी से गुजरी मैंने, और मैंने कभी डरना सीखा ही नहीं। हाँ, लड़ाई तो लड़ाई है सच्ची के लिए। पहले जो हो गया सो हो गया, अभी जो जा रहे हैं फिर दोबारा वो कदम मत उठाना, बिना पूछ के कहीं मत जाना। सबसे पहले तो छोटा करना ही होता है। वही तो मैं भी बोल रही हूँ ना कि अगर आप करना चाहो एनजीओ से भी मदद ले सकते हो, वो लोग साथ देते हैं. We have to end human trafficking in the long run. The prevention has to be much more higher so that one day we don't have girls who are going to be trafficked. बहुत आदमी जो काम देने के लिए गांव-गांव में जाया किया था, काम तो बहुत अच्छा से दिखाता है, लेकिन जब बाहर जाता है तो आप तो पता है असम से इतना ट्रैफिकिंग हो रहा है, तो उस तरफ से आप अवेयरनेस दे रहा है. तो कोई गांव में जाकर तो बोलता हूँ बाहर मत जाओ, तो न्यूज़ खुलेगा तो ऐसे ही न्यूज़ आता है, गांव में काम करो, घर में काम करो, कुकिंग करेगा तो पैसा भी मिल जाएगा घर में. You're not buying because you feel sorry for the women. You buy it because it's a beautiful product. Every product is handwoven by an individual, which is very personal. कहते हैं ना, जन्म देने वाला माँ से पलने वाला अच्छा होता है जो नाम देते हैं. काश मुझे भी पहले ऐसा मिलता था. अगर मैं जानती थी कि मैं भी वीविंग कर सकती हूँ, शायद ऐसा नहीं होता. For me, it became a journey that this cannot happen. How can another human being is a slave to another human being? That is something I will work towards ending.
Wow, watching those fashion show was really amazing. Commendable work, I must say. Thank you so much for sharing this with us as well. I'm gonna just.
Yeah, thank you for allowing us to share. I just wanted to say to everybody, when we talk about prevention, the whole change of prevention means access to market, access to the global world, because if your market is not consistent and people are not buying, then the women will not have a livelihood. So it's a huge concept about a social impact business, that goes along. That was the reason, and it's a call for action from a survivor. Yeah, that's the reason. Thank you so much for allowing to show. Yeah.
Yes. So if any of the participants have any questions to both of our panel or facilitators, please unmute yourself or leave your question in the chat box and we will be able to answer those questions.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah. Hello, ma'am. It was a very nice session. I'm so glad to be here. So my question was, what is the basic human mentality that has to change in order to prevent these, all sorts of crimes like these, human trafficking and all, rape and all. What is the basic mentality in the society that has to change? What do you think?
Is that question to me or to Vivian?
To you, ma'am.
Okay, all right, okay. So if we are looking at community prevention, there are two things. Now, everybody likes to travel and migrate where the grass is greener. That is the reality of life. And that's all of us migrate, including myself, including each one of us sitting in this program today. But as long as our migration is safe, then it is completely a right. We cannot stop migration. We need to understand that. And that is a global human rights. But what we are talking is that when communities, individuals start migrating, like the film, you live in a villages where you have everything around yourself. You have your food security, you have your livelihood, you have, your skills that can actually be groomed into a market access, but you still doesn't want to weave. You want to go out because you feel what you're doing has no value. That is a very human thing that a lot of people today staying back in the rural areas is something that they don't want to, because they feel that that it's better off to go to another place. But of course, I think COVID has taught us a great lesson that you're seeing people coming back and saying, we need to go back locally. I think it has its good side as well. It has a challenging side, COVID-19, but it has a very good side to also tell people that we need to go back to our grassroots. The second point that I wanted to tell you how mentality works is that the younger generation, our experiences with the younger generation in the villages, okay, does not want to do what the mothers are doing, what the family is doing, because they feel that education has made them more polished, more better. So what the mother is doing is actually not something that they would want to be part of it, because it doesn't give them that edge of feeling better as human being. You know how all of us wants better life, better status in the society, better recognition, even as young people. So it's very important to change that concept, that what your mother is doing has a value. So if you see the fashion show that is a clip of that entire prevention activity, it's bringing the new generation on how they can contribute with the educational knowledge that they can weave together, and making the parents proud that what the mother is doing is completely a viable thing. Their contribution, their add-on is a larger support system, so it's a continuous process. So right now it weave together. So the adolescent in the villages are also seeing that there is a beautiful side of what the mothers is doing, the beautiful fabric the mom is doing, the fashion show is going in different country, the mom is speaking to the whole world, the villages is, so that is called the connect, where it helped the younger generation tune themselves that it is okay to have the best education, or even sometimes the education is not so strong that going outside they might work at job which is menial. They rather stay back and become less vulnerable. So that is the connect that help people to change the mindset. And that's how we have used our process, showing impact here. I hope it answers your question.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you.
There is another question on the chat box. What are some of the challenges that you are expecting or already facing in the work that you are doing because of this pandemic? I think both of you can work. There is a continuation question from another participant saying, how is your organization working effectively during this pandemic? So can both of you highlight or share from your experiences?
Vivian, can you go first? Then
Yes.
I will continue. Yeah, all right.
Thank you, Hasina. Yeah, two things. One is about the challenges faced in the community. Usually, communities vary about the information you are trying to bring into the community, saying that is it good for you? They look at with filters in their eyes, and so we work through them, especially through the people who are supporting us, the nodal teachers, the Gram Mitras, and the village panchayats leadership, to ensure that they understand the whole aspect about our effort into the village, to make sure that it is actually going to help them. Now, also that we are going to make it a good family to live in, to make sure that the children understand the work that the parents do, the parents understand the children's mentality, a whole win-win situation for the entire community on one side. But the challenges are there, but because of the connections, because of the relationship that we build and impress upon the leadership of the village to let this program happen, that's one. Now, The pandemic has definitely affected us a lot, mainly because our strength of our program was in the schools. And the way it is absorbed in the school. In fact, the father's message, the mother's message, usually when we do it in the father's meeting separately, mother's meeting separately in the evening during a film and all, it was fine. Very less people used to attend, and many of them were not literate to see the to read through the comic book. So what we did is the messages we sent through the children to the parents, So and the next day we go back to the school and ask the children, hey, what did your mom say, what did your dad say about the good father message, the informed mother messages? So that's what we should ensure the message goes home. But during this time there's no school, so what we did is we changed the entire thing. No film show, no public gathering, but we made a flip chart, and through this flip chart we are going through small gatherings. They don't come out of the homes, but they will be in their homes, in their chabutaras, wherever they're sitting, and we'll give this message of a safe village program for them. It's going to be more hard work, 2 full days, but it'll take time. So this is what is stopping us. And then of course our field workers will wear those those visors and face masks and necessary precautions before they get into this pandemic time. It's tough, but at the same time there's no lockdown on the traffickers. They are very active. Child marriages are going on, trafficking is going on, child abuse is going on. So we need to intervene into the village, and then this is the only way out. So we do talk to them, and then, as I told you, we take the COVID message into the villages. They understand we are there for COVID, to make sure it's a healthy out there for them, so that they can prevent COVID. And then along with it, we give them anti-trafficking messages, so that it's a win-win situation. They are safe, at the same time they're healthy. Thank you.
From my side, I mean, the question that is being asked, like the challenges, and what kind of challenges? Yes, when you run a social enterprise, which is actually sustainable on markets, where the resources come through markets, and that is reinvested in the community for the economic viability and consistency. One challenge is that the lockdown, COVID-19, in terms of the distribution channel online, of products, is, of course, it came out as a challenge, no doubt about it. But at the same time, like during COVID and also right now on the ongoing, the kind of market out there where people purchasing powers, online, or the purchasing power for product is changing drastically because of the economic, because of the situation. So definitely there will be, a low degree of market, which we are already seeing and foreseeing it at the moment. Okay, but there's a new avenue, a new trend of what kind of market it can actually locally be engaged. So one, of course, at one end, the inbound migration that was coming back to the Northeast was facing a crisis of employment and opportunity, where we then retapped them and brought them into the impulse social enterprise to start stitching the mask, because that was a need of the community. So it's again engaging employment to people who lost jobs, starting it small and gradually taking it to the next level. Third is looking at what we call it, the health situation, that we also have to intervene as an institution. And fourth is the interlink of the human trafficking. And that's how the call of action from Ella came about, that we were providing free masks, but as a social enterprise, we cannot be providing free masks throughout the year. We will run a loss. So it has to be a balance. So that is a challenge which we are overcoming and looking for multiple solutions. One solution is a call of action. Second is engaging local governments, that purchasing of masks should be done locally, so that you retain the local market and the women does not lose that market access. Is a consistent balance. So it's a balance of both. So there's a challenge, but there's an opportunity. But it has to be thought it from the lens of a social enterprise at large, and how that work and correlate. The other is, of course, new trends of human trafficking. So the challenge for us right now is everybody is getting in touch with our master artisans in the different villages. So under Impulse NGO Network, we have 30,000 women artisans that we are catering to for many, many years, where we give and provide them direct market access. We have moved 7,000 of these women into the enterprise, where their income is consistent and completely is taken care by, where we take the risk. But we saw that the inbound, we have to incorporate and allow more women vulnerable, where our state partners, who is implementing work on the ground is seeing. So to meet those, to mitigate those kind of things is a challenge, because we are one organization. We cannot adopt all the communities. The resources is limited. The market, has to be engaged. We have to be very clear. So we are going into a multiple partnership during the lockdown, where we realize that food security is an important element. If people have food, have a shelter, they'll not migrate at this point, and then look into the other vulnerability. So we are working extremely, like with Bali Para Foundation. Rural Future is so we are co-creating. Rural Futures and Impulse Social Enterprise, Impulse Empower, is co-creating biodiversity. They work on climate change, biodiversity, and agroforestry. And we are tapping those resources in the region so that we can adopt more people who are vulnerable. So it's just not about weaving, so there has to be a multiple effect, in terms of the ground. So to mitigate challenge, it's also about being open to subject matter, which is larger than, one small thing that we've been looking over the years, that these are multiple factors. So that is how we have also mitigate our challenges going forward towards a positive trend, that livelihood will be expanded. We will adopt more people who are in the villages, who are losing their jobs, and those who have lands. Of course, I'm talking very specific to the Northeast, because land resources, forest is, part. But I'm sure if you go Jharkhand and all these places have similar. But I'm sure in other parts of India, they will have other things. It's not the same geographical location. So one has to see all of that to mitigate challenges. So multiple partnership, not having an ego and being restricted is one, where I would reach out and say, we need a solution. Let's go create a solution. And we are glad that we went into all the formalities, and we're taking a long steps towards it, that we will combine our resources, our knowledge, and we will combine the market access. Yeah, thank you.
Sure. There's another question to Vivian. How can we connect with children during the COVID time to do clubs, and how to reach to the parents? How can we give awareness on human trafficking as a question?
Now, it's very difficult to get in connected with children at this time, because you know uh, wherever the need is, we cannot reach there physically, and nor do the children have access to phones so easily. But what is happening is, now, for example, we there's a tea garden area in North Bengal. Okay, somewhere to the doers, a lot of elephants and rhinos are there. It's a forest area, tea gardens are there. And those are children where mostly the adolescent girls were involved in a netball game. So after the SPP program, we involve with them, and then we tell them about trafficking, and they form sort of a very club, which is not exactly a club, it's a game. So these people on a limited scale are now engaged by our on-ground person, on telephone, and tell them about messages, and 2-3 people get together. But we have to understand the social distancing aspect also. So wherever they are, and so she actually tells them about anti-trafficking, how to be safe, and at this time traffickers are moving around. Make sure your friends don't go away, because they also have been told about how trafficking happens, because some of them were trafficked, and we could actually uh, we actually rescue them. One of the friends of this people who played in these games. तो ये तो उनके बीच में डिस्कशन होता ही है, तो अभी तो पर्सन टू पर्सन नहीं कर पाए, लेकिन टेलीफोन के द्वारा छोटा छोटा ग्रुप्स बना रहे हैं हर जगह, और वहां पर करें. That's one. Another thing is, we have got radio programs on air at the moment in Maharashtra, in Karnataka, and starting in West Bengal. And through that, we are also getting in touch with the people on ground and talking to them, so that if anything is needed. We always have this Rakshaks already there. They are interacting with them. We have the nodal teachers interacting with them. So at the various levels they are, but it's a challenge. Wish we could do more, because we were actually not prepared for this kind of disaster to happen, So, but then with whatever limited resources we have, wherever possible, we are meeting these children wherever on ground, and different locations, to make sure that yes, they have a platform to be heard, their platform to be discussed, their platform they could get advice from. Thank you.
Sure. Um, Varsha is asking, how do we create awareness in the urban areas? Running a Safe Village program is good, but in urban areas, how do we more reach out?
So it is true that we have done, 4,500 safe village programs across. We have not yet get got into urban so much as we got into rural, but because of the need. For example, Turbe region in Mumbai, it's a slum which is just about 300 meters from one of the biggest red light areas, housing 6,000 girls who are involved in prostitution. So it's just about 300 meters away from there. Imagine the plight. Imagine the girls coming out of the road, and just across the road is this one. How much distance, how much time it will take, how much distance it will take, and money drives everything. They can always. So the organizations there asked us if we could do a program there. Wonderful. We had to change a lot of program. We use the same comic book that we're using now, but the activities changed. We took the help of some other organizations and made sure. So we are running a consistent program there. It's not like villages, we go there once and then go again after 6 months. But here we are there almost once or twice a week. We interact with children. Let me tell you, a lot of information, a lot of need. The children, each of them, some of them give small information, small chits of paper, which are actually huge box of cases in them. Small chits of paper. When I'm going, I find a neighbor who is touching me, who is not supposed to touch me. Can you help? Such things we have developed and made sure that redressal is done. But this is what is in slums. Very much agreed. The need is there especially in the slum areas and urban places. Definitely, we are trying to replicate the program at the moment in Mumbai. Could be in Nagpur, and then could some other parts wherever it is needed. Thank you.
Okay. Ramakrishna is asking us on how can individual work on eradicating trafficking. So could both of you share insights on how as an individual we can be a contributor to prevent?
Hasina, would you take the question? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Let me.
So I think it's loved. I mean, I just wanted to first say congratulations to all these organizations who's attending the program today. It takes a lot of energy and effort to connect online, to come and listen to information and activities, because with all the, each one of us today, I think COVID-19 is having, we are all facing our own problems, our own challenges in the house, as individual, as organization. But it's lovely to see like 98 plus of participants are listening. So which means there is a committed, engagement as an organization, as a representative, as a partner at any level of all the participants. So I'm sure the question that has come is that it's very a valuable question, that today a lot of us has different level of wanting to be engaged in addressing human trafficking. My only one advice to everybody is that it's very important to look internally. What kind of engagement are you looking at? It's a self question. It's not a question to be asked by an organization, whether it's, Vivian or me or anyone. It should be asked to yourself, what do I want to be engaged, and why do I want to be engaged? And what is the level of engagement can I provide? When I say what kind of level of engagement, mean your time, because it cannot be that your soul and heart completely 24 hours, because human trafficking can drain you. The problems can drain you. And sometimes I think most of the organization working on this subject also suffer from post-traumatic syndrome, because it's too much of information you're sucking in on the problems. And then the cases that you have to deal is not very easy. There is always after effect of that. So you have to ask that question first. Then come which location are you from? The location that you are in, whether you're at a rural setting, you are an urban, a district level, and then seeing which organization is working in those areas. It's very important. That's the first step. Which organization are working in those areas? How much can you engage? Reaching out to them is one step of how individual can be engaged. Finding out what kind of resources that those organizations might need, because today everybody is working on a tight resources. manpower is a need, and you need committed, passionate manpower to come on board, who also drive, to take things all along. Then finding that out is one step. The other step is how that organization would like them, to be engaged at which level, and being true to certain principles. Because when you're engaged as an individual and you're dealing with cases of human trafficking, you also have to have some ethical values where this organization has to ensure, so that no stigmatization, no violations of rights, is being committed by individual who are volunteering, their passion. So a briefing on the subject is very important, that they should get the information, get it from the right organization. I think what Vivian was just showing, I think one has to learn those information before you go and impart to other children. You have to be very, very careful how you impart the language, the translation, even if you volunteer. Like my language, traditionally as a Khasi, we don't even have words on human trafficking. There are many sector of things, So one has to be very, very careful when you're individual and trying to get engaged, and to be true to yourself when you're doing this, because we have seen the good, we have seen the bad, we have seen the ugly that happen, that today a lot of organization is being cautious to involve individuals. So you have to be going through this process. The other, for young people, how does young people get engaged in this? Young people today are the people that use the internet the most than me, than Vivian. They are like at the tip of the finger. So what would they like to actually get involved in educating their circle of young people? So I think reaching out to Vivian on the subject matter he spoke, reaching out to organizations like us, those who are there, will be happy to provide correct information so that they can engage as young people using the technology, in creating wider awareness, but a consistency in the wider awareness. The right words is very important, because we are seeing the breakup of the kind of situation going along, that people are getting confused about human trafficking, at different level, and migration. There's a huge confusion there. There's a huge confusion about prostitution and migration and trafficking, and sometimes there is this overlap of stakeholder where they just cannot deal with it because they're overloaded. Police are overloaded at time and they say, she migrated, she was not trafficked. What are you talking about? So these things needs to be avoided when individual gets in touch. So getting into the right space with the right organization, reaching out for those information without feeling bad about it, because knowledge is the learning. I continue to learn even today from the younger group of people, who are reaching out. As we are talking right now, I think we have two of our members, Shrita Pandring is tweeting constantly, and we are receiving a lot of information, tweeting your program. So many people are writing back, in my messenger, how can I be involved? So you can understand how young people can reach out with the right message from the right people and still get a wider engagement. So I hope that gives a little bit of introspection of how individual can get involved. Thank you.
Thank you, Hasina.
Vivian, would you like to add something?
Yes, if you would like to help, then reach out uh, wherever you are. Learn about trafficking. See, because there's a lot of immense learnings out there. Learn about how trafficking happens. It can happen around you, anywhere it can happen. Uh, Only thing is, in villages, that somebody is missing from there, but in towns, you hardly know anything. So there is stalking going on everywhere where there is money, because there's like a lot of money. Trafficking is one business which is almost it's this, they say it's number third business in the world. The legal business happens. They say gun running, and then guns are there, and then drugs are there, and then now trafficking. But I think because guns you sell only once and drugs is only once, but a girl can be sold again and again. So I think this goes as number one. And so it's so important that you understand what trafficking is, the trauma of trafficking, the pain which goes into the trafficking. So if that drives you, then you understand, and then reach out to wherever you are. Reach out to organizations. You can reach out to us. You can reach out to Hasina. You can reach out to Red Rope Movement. So you just get in touch with them from wherever you are. You can do the work wherever you are. We can help you and guide you to work. Now, for example, for us, we have, I told you about 100 partners working on ground. If you're in a specific location, we can always ask you, go and visit the partner there. And then, you can go along with them, go to the Safe Village programs, go and see them. And then you'll find out where you have to work. Either you want to work in the community, support them financially, support them with your person, support them with your talents. Maybe you can, buy their products. So many things you can do if you want to get involved. But first understand what trafficking is and then get into it. Thank you.
Uh, as part of Red Rope, we are running this campaign called as Be India's Impact. I hope you're able to see my screen. So this is how individually all of us can contribute. First is share your views. If India can be free from slavery, share with a friend about trafficking. Third one, share your talents. Your talent could be painting, photography, music, or poster making, or taglines, anything. On this theme of free India from slavery, if you could share ideas, share these aspects that you can do individually, that will be great. So this is one campaign that we're running on behalf of Red Rope. So if any of you are interested, please connect with us as well, adding to all that both our facilitators have shared.
That's wonderful.
There is another question from Varsha on asking, how do we as a society work towards promoting the basic idea of respecting human beings?
Vivian, for you first, and I'll ask
Yeah.
our views. Yeah.
I mean, it's do unto others as you wish to be done unto you. So you first start respecting yourself, and then when you start putting that into place, then you'll understand how you would like to be treated. So should you treat others? It's not very hard that way. So try to respect everyone, because everyone has got a chance in life as much as you have. The same air we breathe, the same water we drink, and the only thing is economic disparities has put us into different locations in varied places. But everybody commands respect, and they have got the right to live, right to education, right to, there's no slavery. So wherever you think injustice is there, put it down. Understand it is difficult to happen. Injustice, violence, and all these all prevent from like, for example, violence prevents from a person getting justice, a person being recognized as a human being, because violence uh, uh, covers up the whole thing in force and brutality and impunity. So don't allow that to happen. When it is growing. The problem with most of us is when something is very loud and sharp and very thing, we tend to don't ignore that, and when there is small suffering which is going on and all, we go after that. But actually the main thing which is happening in front of us, we cover our eyes because we cannot challenge huge things. So we have to be sensitive. We have to, if it's not now, then there is no when again. So wherever you are, make sure there's no injustice around. Make sure no one is put into hardships. Now, for example, when Operation Muskan was done by Telangana police, when we had a conference, I told them, run this campaign of child labor. We are searching, we're going rescuing it. But if you can put it on to children, hey, look outside your window. Do you see a girl working out there? Do you see a boy working there on something? That shouldn't be right. You are going to a great school and now you're online, having a flashy computer in front of you, a phone in front of you. So naturally, everybody has got a right to education, right? But that child is working and you cannot keep quiet. You have to report. So if this sense of responsibility is spread, children and in society, I think we'll have a great future ahead. Thank you.
From my end, I would just say that when we talk about human right, of course, there are human right principles, the UN Convention, our legal law, our constitutional right, of course, formulates the legal aspect of why they are in place and why do we need to implement them and why it's important to implement them. And that's why we are sitting and talking about human rights issues and principles. But there is a human aspect on each one of us. I think Vivian touched that very much, that simple things. If today you are I mean, I've seen so much in this many years. We talk about human rights issues, but then we see our neighbor having a child labor as a domestic help, and we don't talk about it because we don't want our relationship to go back with our neighbor. Simple thing I just wanted to hint. We have enforcement, we have, what we call it, stakeholders still employing children. I'm seeing that, I mean, in ground reality, with this context that I am, they're just playing with my kids. I am sending them to a morning school, and, in the day they're working, and we don't speak about it. Those are violation of human rights, in some way. So even if you stand up, one, reach out and say this is not to be done. If they don't listen, then all the toll free, online, in every respective can be reported immediately. It's the first step how you can contribute to human right violation in simple way. The other is that when you get engaged yourself to work with human rights issues, sometimes some individual and some of us, to get out of our own problems or our own what we call personal issues of our own challenges, because of experiences in the past, we feel that by working on the issue of human right, we get so emotionally bound to every cases that we are doing, can also sometimes be a violations if you look at, because you might not look it from the psychological aspect, the legal aspect. You can really, intrude in human rights cases the wrong way when you don't intentionally want to do that. So you have to restrict that kind at all time, not getting involved because you're getting aggressively because you saw a violation and it reminds of your own experiences at some point or the other. So that will not be the correct way, because sometimes you'll violate the other person's rights because then you feel you have control on that case. You have control on that human being. And there, indirectly, you are actually violating their rights. So these are simple, what we call it, points, that each one of us will have to value the principle of human right when we want to go an extra mile, an extra step, that we constantly remind ourselves which stage of our life are we and what are we doing. Are these things are conflicting within us? Because if they are conflicting within us, we might even make a mistake in the course of action because we feel that, we want to get out of our own problem and we are trying to help the other person by taking strong, what we call control on that person. So I hope that is a very personal experiences over the many years with many people that, I have seen, I've experienced, and then the survivor of human trafficking gets intimidated. An individual get intimidated with the situation. That should not be the point, because when the person get intimidated, then you realize that you've made a violation of human rights there, because the person, you're not an expert, on the subject. So always engage expert when situation like that ever happen when you are dealing with it. Thank you.
Hey, Krishna, can I add something to this?
Please, yeah, please.
Thank you, Hasina. It was wonderful what you said. Yes. So there was a family I met in North Bengal where we just went to see that place, and before we did our program. So there were about 160 cases of missing girls from that place, and then okay, let's check the police register. But the police register is only about 80 of them. So where did the rest of them go? So likewise, when I was talking, one family came and said, "हमारी बच्ची खो गई है." क्या हुआ? नहीं इतने दिन से 1 साल से नहीं. 1 साल, मतलब she was sending money for them maybe 6-7 months, and after she stopped, and then they remember that they have to file a complaint or something like that. Till then everything was fine. So where are they? Where is she? They do not know. They don't have a telephone number, nothing. So, but why did this 50% of the people did not complain? So we asked some parents. You know what they said? अरे हमारी लड़की गई तो गई, क्या हुआ? हम हमारे पड़ोसी से और हमारे रिश्तेदारों से दुश्मनी क्यों मोल लें? So this is a society that we are living in, Why? Okay, when the girl is gone, it's okay, but why should I spoil the present circumstances? Why should I have enmity with my neighbor and with my own uncle or auntie or my relation? Let's, this is what the situation is. They have to come out of it. People have to help them come out of it, report, and let there be just society, and just don't be escapists and run into the shortcuts wherever it's possible. Yeah, this is a responsible society that we need. One who reports, one who supports. Thank you.
Sure. There's a comment from Ramakrishna saying, yeah, the need of the hour is also to focus on online crimes like harassing, abuse, provoking the victims to do unwanted things like pornography. It is just like virtual human trafficking, which is very right. You rightly pointed that out. I see Rupali Singh raising hands. Do you have any question, Rupali? Okay. There's another question from Gracie which says, what suggestions do you have to navigate the issues that you mentioned? Could you, I don't know whom is this referring to. So Grace, are you there?
Yes, yes. I was talking about the things that Vivian sir and Hasina madam were talking about how people are so scared to get involved in these issues because of how it's just not a one-time thing that they get involved in. Like for example, if you see a neighbor, like a minor child, being involved in child labor, if we get involved in it, then obviously the relationship with the neighbors get affected. And then there's so much of legal issues, there's so much of other things that come into play that people back off even before they try to do something about it. So what are your suggestions or about how to navigate these things, about how to keep people involved, even though it is such a big thing to get involved in? How do we motivate the common people to actually take action, to do something? Because it's one, if one person becomes responsible to raise their voice, then a change can actually happen. So what are some of the suggestions? I hope my question is clear.
Yeah, so let me start and Vivian can add whatever I miss. So I think when we use the word as individual, I do understand that every individual does not want to be engaged for a very long time and get into the complexities of law enforcement, court and all of that when you report crimes, whatever crime that might happen in your neighborhood or, in anywhere that you are coming across. But you still wants to be part of helping that. So we as an organization, I can say from our experiences, has received cases, information like this, where we keep the the individual who reported as anonymous, with information, and still go one step further to see and validate and intervene. That's one way you could do if you feel as an individual, I don't want, but at least you've taken the first step to inform to the right space, whether it's through maybe the easiest, it'll be a child line 1098 in your area that they can immediately go and pick up the child, whoever that needs help, right? That's the circle. Or if there's an organization nearest, so you have to see, also update yourself what is the nearest information available, and you keep yourself anonymous. So that's one way you can do, but at least you do not keep quiet. You are aware, and you're not prepared to go to the next level of, going to the court, going to the police station and so on. But I would say, taking from Vivian, when he mentioned the last word, if we have to have an evolved society, then we have to have people coming out of that being scared. So it's not about having an enemy with your neighbor, but it is about speaking out for what is not right. So, we need to also have, this understanding that as we move forward, we need to have people evolving, that we will not see, violation, even in our own family, in our own neighborhood, to anybody. We'll stand up if we know that that is wrong. But till then, at least step one, as I mentioned, you can still participate, till you are evolved, personally.
Thank you. Very easily.
Looks like we've lost Vivian.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Okay, there.
Yeah. So what I would like to say that actually there's a big transformer last year, so we had some problem. Now, can you hear me, Chris?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not very hard. If you see something happening around, we have helpline numbers which you can call at. You can, if it's a minor, you can always call Childline. And even if I'm sitting here in the next door, something is happening, you can call Childline and tell them. They will keep your identity secret. It's not necessary they'll contact you. Maybe for logistics purpose, they might call you. But other police numbers is there. You can reach out to them and make sure that is. But you have to report. Very, very important. Reporting is very important. Yes.
Cool. I think we are done with the questions, and we've almost reached 2 hours. So it's good time to wind up the conversation that we've been having so far for past 2 hours. I would like to first of all thank both of you speakers. It's been enriching learning from both of you on prevention, but from different angles. So that brings a great insight to us as audience. So thank you so much for facilitating to us this morning and enlightening us on how individually and as a corporate we can engage ourselves and societies and people around us to eradicate trafficking as a whole. So thank you once again. I want to thank each of you participants for logging in much ahead of time, even before I logged in, and for staying along, learning, and I'm sure all of you will contribute in one or the other way in eradicating trafficking. Thank you so much. I've shared the feedback link. If any of you have missed, please click on the link below and share your feedback for us to track on how the program is and how you would like to engage as well. So if any of you want to connect with Vivian or Hasina, their email IDs were on the chat. Please connect with them as well to see how you can collaborate with them as well.
Thank you so much. Wonderful, moderation and getting me here. Thank you, Vivian, My Choices, and your program Red Alert.
Thank you.
Part of this, I truly enjoyed all the questions and learning new things every day. From everybody with all the question that has come. Yes, my team has been sharing emails and all of that, so that whatever we cannot cover in our talk, they can reach back to us if there's anything to the Northeast. Any cases from the Northeast, they need help because the situation is such that so many girls, young women from the Northeast are stuck in many places, facing a lot of exploitation, and we are trying our level best. So please reach out to us if there's anything, any one of you might know. And of course, and anything that is further, we will be happy. Our case manager email is there. She'll be happy to collaborate, at any point, because I know that the case now are multiple. You are actually caught with COVID, and then you are exploited, and then you are unable to pay rent, and the owner is taking, all kind of, vulnerability, capturing you. So we will have to just, what we call it, take it forward and see what kind of case it is, but we are willing to do that. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Hasina. Thank you, Chris. Thank you very much. Wonderful to be here. Thank you for taking the time, Hasina. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and Chris, thank you very much. And we wish all the best for the Red Rope movement. It should grow, increase, and help many people. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Vivian, sir. Thank you, Vivian, sir. Thank you to all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, Vivian Garu, and all the staff. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.